I went to see Angkor Wat, which is the world's largest religious structure. It certainly is. And I flew from Bangkok. It's about an hour and a half, I think it was, and you land at a place called Siem Reap. And you're in Cambodia. Now, Cambodia is a country that was the killing fields when Pol Pot was in power, and they exterminated everyone with an education. So everyone over 5 that went to school, they killed them. They killed 5 million people. Now you can go and see all the skulls and all that sort of war, but I'm not interested in that, right? That doesn't interest me. The energy there would bowl me over. I'd feel it too much, you know. I went to a site over there, and I got really sick, really disorientated. Had to get out of there, and then I was told that 2,000 people died on that soil in a battle 600 years ago. So anyway, it's a crazy place. You land at the airport, and as you're driving in, there's just plastic everywhere. It's like 12 inches of plastic. Like, they don't know what to do with it. And I thought, this place is a pigsty, I'm thinking. People are pulling up with vehicles, just tipping plastic on the ground, setting fire to it. As soon as you get to the city limits, it's spotless. Right? Absolutely spotless. So anyway, I had a guest house. They put you off at a spot, and I just walked down the street, and I just looked at these guest houses, and I thought, I'm not going to stay in a crappy one. Got caught in that before. I'll have to tell you about that sometime. But I thought, no, because you've got to pay, if you paid like $30 Australian, or now that'd be like 16 American, you get a really nice place, and you get breakfast usually with it too. I like breakfast. So I saw a place, so I booked in there. That was great. The next morning, you walk out the front, and there's people waiting there. They're virtually fighting over here to take you to Angkor Wat. So you get a taxi. So I got an air-conditioned taxi. I'm going to be in this, 108 degree heat. Right? That's what it was, 108 degrees. I wasn't going to be in that. I thought, blow that, I can get a taxi. Now, this guy cost me $60, or probably $40 US for the whole day, wherever you wanted to go. The whole thing, and it was fantastic in the end. Really good. So I hired him for a few days, And anyway, we go to Angkor Wat now. Angkor Wat is surrounded by a moat, right? And the moat is 9 miles long, and it's like quarter a mile wide. And they say on there it's over 100 feet deep. And they say, it was dug by spade. And you look at it and go, what a load of rubbish that is. Total load of rubbish, And it's a magnificent place, a huge temple. Every surface has scenes on it. Right? You can go and follow the scene of the king and his battle, and it's the longest mural on earth. But what it is, it's plaster stucco. And when I looked closely, I realised all this was stuck on the building. Right? So they built this pyramid, because it was a pyramid. It's on the same latitude as the pyramid in Giza, right? And the Sun Temple in Mexico, right? It's all like a network. I believe it was an ancient power network, healing network. It could have created power to communicate across the heavens. So, I realised it was older than that. And when there's 4 pools of water that were part of the system, right? I reckon power generation for sure. And I was just sitting on the edge, and I was just looking there, and there was a Cambodian guy next to me, and I said, hello, and he said, oh, hello, sir. And I said, you speak English? He said, yes. He said, I'm a professor. I said, oh, really? And he said, yeah, professor at university. I said, this is amazing what your people built. He said, oh, no, we never built this. No. And I said, who built this? He says, space gods. We never built this. This was built by space gods. I said, oh. And he said, I said, how long ago? He said, oh, many, hundreds of thousands of years ago. That's what he said to me. He said, that's in our oral tradition. And he said, but it had been used again by other space visitors. Had taken the building over. And he said, we were never allowed in here. And he said they all lived, the people, 1 million of them lived around this place in bamboo and wooden buildings. And in 1400 AD, they all vanished. The whole lot just vanished off the face of the earth. Now that's a known proper thing. So if you go and look up Main Street archaeology, it will tell you that. Now the other thing you start to notice, that there's steps up on the building. The steps are too big for humans. Everything is built for giants, right? Their excuse is, oh no, that's to make you bow down for the king. I'm thinking, nah, you don't need that to make someone bow down for a king. Just have a guy there with a spear, someone will soon bow down. So I thought that was a load of rubbish to start with, right? These steps were not made from humans. So I'm looking around, and I started noticing but there was a period of time behind the stucco, an earlier civilization. So I believe they stuck the panels over this in like 1400 AD, when that civilization was here, but it's way, way older. And I remember watching, there's an Indian archaeologist, I'll have to have a look for him, but he was showing the same place I found in the doorway, and that was actually, it's actually older, it's not a Buddhist, it's a Hindu. And he believes it goes back that far as well, even before the Hindu religion. It's an ancient, pre-flood, megalithic structure. Right? Now, that building's still pretty well intact, right? And there's other buildings around it. That's still quite intact, actually. It's amazing preservation. Now, what I didn't realise, this whole area has other temples, right? It takes 2 hours. It's vast. And you have things like the Lady Temple, you have the Red Temple, you have the Jungle Temple. There's a whole range of these other temples. And he says, you want to go? And I said, yeah, I'll go and see the whole lot. So what they do is they drop you off, say at Angkor Watt, and then they go and smoke cigarettes and play cards. Right, that's what they do. And drink coffee, right? So, and then when you finish, you see them over there, and sometimes you go and have a coffee with the guys, you know. I like to get in with the workers and their families, you know. I like staying with families, and I like to experience the life, not stay in a 5-star hotel. I'm a humble person. I want to know what they know and what they feel. That's what I like to do. So usually I go for guest houses that are owned by families. I can meet their kids, I can see how they live. Some of the ones I've stayed in, you could even look out the window into other guest houses. And you could see how poor they were. They all slept on the floor on bamboo sheets. No pillows, nothing. And they would climb out onto the roof and have a fire pit there and cook with charcoal. And they had very little. So yeah, some of these temples were just amazing. The jungle was growing back through them. But they're all destroyed. But Angkor Wat still stood because I believe with these other temples they tried to mimic Angkor Wat, like they did all around the world. It was it's just stood. It stood earthquakes. It stood everything in time. That structure has nothing's brought it down, but everything else. One place I went to, they've been working on it for 10 years, and I went and talked to the archaeologists and that, and yeah, and they were telling me about the reconstruction, because that's what I do. I got no shame. I'll get in there, help them. I love stuff like that. Just can't get enough of it, right? I love seeing these ancient places. I hunt them out in Australia. I've got plenty of adventures of hunting for the Gympie Pyramid and things like that. So yeah, and I spent a while with him, and what he was telling me is, he said when the Pol Pot regime was on, his family and him went and lived up in this mountain range. He's pointing it out, this mountain range. Lived for 2 years in the forest so they didn't get killed. Right? Now his parents were still alive to this day. Right? And he showed me where they live, so they only live on his generosity. his thing. So I went and bought some rice for him, some bags of rice, and I thought I bought some lentils. And we took it around, we gave it to him, and I also gave him all my change every day, so he could also buy things for his parents. He said they had no mattress, and I said, well, put this money together and we'll get them a mattress in it. So anyway, funny thing, I was watching a show a few years later, and that mountain range where he said he went, I think I was watching Expedition Unknown, and up in there they've actually discovered a whole nother civilization on top of that mountain range now. Yeah, it's just amazing. And they don't even know how old it is. It's very ancient, and the jungle just reclaimed it. So, that was Angkor Wat. Absolutely amazing. Probably the most amazing place. It's a place of energy. You get there and you just feel the energy coursing through you. It's just, if you're an empathic person, you'll feel the energy, but it's not in a bad way. It's a good, positive energy. It makes you feel alive and charged. Just amazing.